Discussion in current affairs. First topic is the urgent need of national security doctrine in India. Recently, Chief of Defence Staff highlighted the need for a national security strategy in India. The CDS called for debate on formalizing India's national security strategy. The Chief of Defence Staff highlighted component of the national security strategy, policy, process and practices. On three things he highlighted on three different parameters. One is the policy, second is the process, third is the practice. He acknowledged that India addresses policy, process and practice effectively. However, the absence of a formal written policy is a notable gap in the national security strategy. Okay, so he questioned the necessity of a written policy and cited the example of Israel, which operates without a written national security strategy document, for which at times it is facing the challenge. This reignite analysis and debate of whether India really needs a written policy for its national security strategy, whether it is a need or what is the importance of that, and how far it is important that a written policy should be there, is clearly dealt by this discussion. Fine. About the national security strategy, the national security strategy is a document Okay, so NSS is a document that lays down the security objective of a country, defines its internal and external challenges, and provides guidance on how to achieve those objectives. The NSS should address both traditional and non-traditional threats, assess potential threats, allocate resources, and outline diplomatic, military, intelligence as well as defense policies. Example: United States, the United Kingdom, Russia, China and Pakistan have a comprehensive national security strategy. What is lacking in India? Okay, so need for national security strategy, enhancing operational effectiveness. National security strategy should define clear objectives, its ends, strategy, wage and resources means. So if the means are good, the ends will be definitely good, following the good ends, wage, while promoting delegation, synergy and operational autonomy. It aims to encourage initiative, innovation and improvisation at the front line level, because national security should be is normally the first criteria or first important requirement of every country. And okay, so enhancing operational effectiveness, the national security strategy should define clear objective and strategy, wage and resource means, while promoting delegation, synergy and operational autonomy. It aims to encourage initiative, innovation and improvisation at the frontline level. Then crucial for effective theater commands, the national security strategy is crucial for the establishment and effectiveness of the theater command. Okay, this NS is crucial for the establishment and effectiveness of the theater command and overall military transformation. A well-defined NSS is expected to inspire bold and capable military leaders like the Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, Lieutenant General Harbakh Singh and Lieutenant General Sagat Singh. Promote whole of the nation approach. A well-crafted national security strategy is needed for promoting a whole of nation approach and synergizing comprehensive national power. Facilitate capacity building. Okay, so facilitate capacity building. It could also enable the setting of milestones for capacity building for modernization, infrastructure, and Atmanirbhar mission. Concerned over the current status of defense planning. Currently, there is a discontinuation of defense plans and long-term prospective plans. Introduction of the new format like the integrated capacity plan. Okay. 10 years and defense capability acquisition plan for 5 years are still in the stabilization process, because we must okay. So it would okay. Oil dependence is expected to inspire bold and capable military leaders. Okay. Concerned about the current status, defense planning. Currently, there is a disconnection of defense plans for 5 years and long-term prospect plan for 15 years, because planning should be made for 15 years. Okay. So introduction of new formats like the integrated capacity capability plan for 10 years and defense capability acquisition plan for 5 years are still in the stabilization phase. The parliamentary review and audit by the Auditor General are seen as not fully effective. There is a need to improve these review with better tools for checking and predicting goals. The build accountability. The national security strategy could help outside experts check and improve government plans. The NSS as a reference for the peer review by think tanks reduce ambiguity and build meaningful accountability. It could make national security planning clearer and more accountable. Okay, that means so this policy has highlighted that so the policy should be the national security strategies is of prime importance for the country, and it should be highlighted. Okay, so then issue and concern surrounding India's national security strategy. Okay, so prolonged drafting of the multiple versions of the NSS, prolonged engagement in drafting multiple versions of the national security strategy. The past 2 decades raise question about its purpose and effectiveness because it is going for a long period without a tangible outcome. Establishment of the Defense Planning Committee, establishment of the apex level Defense Planning Committee, chaired by the National Security Advisor in 2018, aimed at formulating the NSS and National Defense Strategy. However, not much progress has been achieved in this. Okay, and then a transparency issue, lack of transparency regarding. Okay, so transparency issue, lack of transparency regarding the status and progress of this significant exercise despite its public announcement. Current challenges with operational directive, current reliance on the cryptic and inadequate operational directive of the defense ministers underscores the need for a comprehensive national security strategy. Concerned about the unclear strategy guidance, there are concerned about army commanders' lack of substantive handover procedure, which are often brief of ceremony. Attempt to formulate the national security strategy, the Kargil Review Committee report in 2000. This committee was formulated after the 1999 Kargil conflict. The report of this committee included recommendations on national security. Naresh Chandra Task Force on Security 2012. This report covered defense and intelligence reforms. National Security Advisory Board. This National Security Advisory Board has adopted the National Security Strategy document multiple times but not has been approved. The National Security Council Secretariat. The National Security Council Secretariat is collecting input from various central ministries and departments to create a draft strategy before seeking final cabinet approval. Example, during the Doklam crisis, the strategy guidance was unclear for them. Okay, the system suffer from over centralization and in the long term need to be replaced by decentralized directive style of command. Okay, because centralization, too much centralization is at the cost of this. Then divergence in opinion, the Minister of Defense and other government agency may hold. Okay, divergence in opinion, the Minister of Defense and other government agency may hold differing opinions on a formal NSS, National Security Strategy, changing threat landscape, adapting the NSS to address evolving and advanced security threats such as cyber threats, terrorism, and non-traditional security challenges is a continuous challenge. Way forward, India urgently needs a customized approach to tackle its unique security challenges effectively. Clarifying and resolving issues surrounding the national security strategy is crucial for enhancing strategic clarity and operational readiness in safeguarding national interests. So then next is the B.R. Ambedkar view on constitutional morality. Okay, the article criticizes disregarding. Okay, instances where the bypassed established procedure and norms, leading to concern about the concentration of power and undermining constitutional values. So, what recent government action went against the constitution? Preemptive decision making. India's Prime Minister approved the 17th installment of the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi at 20,000 crore scheme before the allocation of ministerial portfolio which traditionally falls under the Ministry of Agriculture and the Department of Expenditure. Cabinet action without portfolio. The first cabinet meeting led to the decision to assist 3 crore additional households under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana without assigned portfolio, raising questions. Okay, so cabinet action without the portfolio, this is another issue because Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana without assigned portfolio, raising questions about the procedural legitimacy of the decision. So extension. Okay, extension of the tenures. India's Prime Minister extended the tenure of the National Security Advisor and the Principal Secretary prematurely using the old appointment committee of the cabinet setup, despite not having reconstituted the cabinet committee after the new government formation. So they have been appointed and their tenure, like Ajit Doval's and PK Mishra's tenure, has been extended. What are the implications of these approaches for democracy and governance? Centralization of the power. India's Prime Minister approach centralizes decision making in the PMO, bypassing other ministry and diluting. Okay, so lack of accountability. The centralized governance model has reduced the effectiveness of parliamentary check, like questions and motion, limiting the daily and periodic assessment of the government action. Separation of opposition, each public speeches often dismisses and belittle the opposition, weakening democratic debate oversight. Okay, separation of the opposition. His public speeches often dismiss and belittle the opposition, weakening democratic debate and oversight. Okay, ignoring major issues. The government has been slow to address critical national problems such as unemployment, inflation. Okay, been slow to address critical national problems such as unemployment, inflation, and regional conflict, like the situation in Manipur, suggesting a focus on optics over substantial governance. Okay, What historical warning did Ambedkar give that relate to governance? Ambedkar's warning. B.R. Ambedkar caution that blind devotion in politics could lead to dictatorship. Constitutional morality. He emphasized that constitutional morality must be cultivated and respected by both the ruling and the opposition parties. Ambedkar's quote, November 4th, 1948, Ambedkar stated that democracy in India is like a top racing on Indian soil, which is essentially undemocratic. Current implication, present action of the government show a disregard of collective responsibility and constitutional process, leading to concern about an emerging constitutional dictatorship. Limitation of the existing law on mercenaries. Next topic. Okay, so the Minister of Internal Affairs acknowledged that death and recruitment of Indian nationals by the Russian army and has been actively engaging with Russian authority. The article discussed the recruitment of Indian citizens by the Russian army to fight in Ukraine upon under the false pretense of good pay and citizenship. They highlight the death of two such recruits and the Indian government's effort to manage and prevent such situation. The Ministry of External Affairs acknowledged the death and recruitment of Indian nationals by the Russian army and has been actively engaging with Russian authority to address the issue. The Indian embassy in Moscow raised concern with the Russian ambassador in New Delhi seeking intervention for the release of the Indian nationals. In response to the crisis, the Ministry of External Affairs issued a press note advising India to exercise caution when seeking employment opportunity in Russia. The Central Bureau of Investigation filed a first information report against 15 individuals and 4 companies involved in trafficking Indians to Russia under false employment promises. Who are the mercenaries? Mercenaries are individuals recruited for third-party states to fight in conflict, mainly for personal gain rather than patriotism or loyalty to a cause. Okay, so mercenary, so the rather than patriotism loyalty to a cause, they differ from conventional combatants who were members of the armed forces of the party to the conflict. Okay, under international humanitarian law, particularly Article 47 additional. Okay, okay. So under international humanitarian law, particularly Article 47 of Additional Protocol 1 to the Geneva Convention, the mercenary must meet 6 criteria: recruited to fight in the conflict, taking direct part in hostilities, motivated by significant financial gain, not nationals or residents of the conflict states, not member of the involved armed forces, and not sent on official military duty by their home country. So they are called as the mercenaries. Okay. The Organization of African Unity Convention 1977. Okay, so the Organization of African Unity expanded this to include civil wars. Okay, in 1989, the Union General Assembly broadened its further to cover acts undermining governments and state integrity. Despite the definitions, mercenary do not qualify. Okay, a definition mercenary do not qualify for prisoners of war status if captured but must be treated humanely under international humanitarian law. So, what are the limitations of the existing law on mercenaries? So, ambiguity in definition. Okay, so domestic law gap. Most countries do not criminalize mercenary activities, lack of accountability, no mechanism to hold foreign advisors and trainers accountable. The PMSC loopholes. Private military and security companies (PMSC) operate under loosely defined legal frameworks, relying on domestic law. For example, the Wagner Group in Russia has not been formally acknowledged by the Kremlin, complicating accountability. Although they fight the war for Russia in Ukraine, but they are not accountable. Non signatory status. Okay. Develop robust policy framework, implement policy to address distress migration and human trafficking, focus on both long-term and immediate measures. Long-term measures target economic factors driving people to leave India, create more domestic jobs opportunity and improve economic conditions so they will not migrate to work as mercenary in foreign countries. Immediate measures educate the public about risk of overseas job offers and implement strong pre-travel vetting for Indians going to Russia and other conflict zones. Pre-travel approval require pre-travel approval from the Minister of External Affairs to identify and prevent trafficking cases. Learn from example, Nepal banned its citizens from working in Russia or Ukraine due to similar issue. India can consider similar measures. Okay, so that should be taken care of. Okay, so by mid-century, India elderly population. Next topic, elderly population in India. By mid-century, India's elderly population is expected to reach 319 million, growing annually about 3%. This group will mostly consist of women with a sex ratio of 1065 female per thousand males. Additionally, 54% of elderly women are projected to be widow. In India, the four major vulnerability faced by the elderly population are restrictions in activity of daily living, multimorbidity, poverty, and the absence of any income. According to the longitudinal aging survey of India, last year 2017-18, approximately 20% of the elderly face each other challenges. Daily living, okay, challenges with significant differences between states. These findings can help focus welfare efforts on addressing these issues among the elderly population in India. Okay, so how is the rising elderly population in India being viewed? Okay, the increase in elderly people is not happening by itself. It is part of broader challenge in families, including smaller households. There is a need to consider how elderly individuals live together in households, especially when there are multiple elderly people living together. In household with elderly, issues such as dependence, caregiving, social security, and financial protection are more important compared to households without elderly. This shows that elderly vulnerability arises from household circumstances rather than just their individual characteristics. What are the issues faced by the elderly population in India? A concerning aspect is that 25% of the elderly report poor health, higher than 20% among those aged 45 and above. Chronic disease affects 75% of the elderly, and 40% of these aged 45 and above have disabilities. Diabetes and cancer are prevalent among India's elderly, posing significant threat. Mental health is becoming a growing concern with 20% of people. Mental health is becoming a growing concern with 20% of the people aged over 45 reporting issues mostly linked to depression. Okay. Food insecurity is an issue affecting 6% of the individual. Okay. Food insecurity is an issue affecting 6% of individual aged over 45% who consume reduced portion of the skip meals, while 5.3% go without food despite feeling hungry. Awareness about welfare provisions is quite low, as only 12% of the people know about the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizen Act 2007. Okay. Okay, so awareness about welfare programs is quite low, as only 12% of the people know about the maintenance and welfare of parents and senior citizens Act 2007, and just 20% are aware of the various benefits available to the elderly. Similarly, schemes such as that IGNOPAS, and Annapurna are also poorly recognized. India's elderly generally have low life expectation and their vulnerability due to various forms of abuse from the family, community, and the society. Abuse is reported by 5% of the elderly, particularly affecting women in rural area are most neglected. What should be the way forward? It's important to encourage preparation for life that ensure that not only financial independence. Okay, so what should be the way forward? It's important to encourage preparation for life that ensure not only financial independence but also healthy, active, and productive years, especially with longer lifespan. There is a pressing need to empower this vulnerable group socially. There is a need to establish new types of institutions to change how society view on elderly, valuing them as an asset rather than burdens. Okay, so giving ongoing changes such as youth mobility, digitization. What is the current status of tourism in Antarctica? Antarctica tourism has witnessed a dramatic surge in tourist number from a few thousand in the early 1990 to over 1 lakh in the year 2023 seasons. An estimated 1,18,089 tourists in 23-24. United States and China accounts for more than 40% of the tourists to the Antarctica. This growth is attributed to increased global interest in adventure travel and a desire to experience Antarctica's unique landscape and wildlife. Benefit Antarctica tourism offer educational economic benefit but also raises significant environmental concern. Environmental concern: increased human presence disrupts wildlife, damage fragile ecosystem, and risk introducing invasive species. Ship traffic pollutes pristine water, and tourism adds to the global carbon footprint. Climate change exacerbates this issue by opening new area for tourism while increasing ecosystem vulnerability. Governance challenge: the current governance framework for Antarctica tourism is fragmented and lacks clear regulation. The Antarctica Treaty prioritizes peaceful use of scientific research, while the Madrid Protocol offers broad environmental guidelines but lacks specific tourism regulation. The International Association for Antarctica Tour Operators manages day-to-day operations through self-regulation, but many stakeholders find these guidelines insufficient to address mounting environmental pressure. The ATCM 46, the main goal forum for Antarctica issue, recognized the need for strict tourism rules but could not get all countries to agree. The rule needing unanimous approval often delay decision. Okay. Okay. There is a need to ensure a sustainable future of Antarctica tourism that involves improving environmental protection, setting up strong monitoring program, and promoting international cooperation. Recent initiative, the ATCM 46, provides a ray of hope by emphasizing decision based on scientific evidence and involving all stakeholders. Antarctica as an untouched wilderness can be preserved. Then the Nagastra one, recently the solar industry headquartered in Nagpur has supplied the Indian Army with the initial consignment of the domestically produced Nagastra 1 loitering munitions. Nagastra 1 is a UAV based loitering munition designed to act as a aerial ambush system. This primary function is to hover above targets and execute precision strike with the GPS enabled accuracy, achieving a remarkable precision of 2 meters. Precision strike capability: in that Kamizaki mode, Nagastra 1 can neutralize hostile threats by directly striking the target and destroying itself in the process. High altitude operation: the drone can fly at altitude over 4,500 meters, making it difficult to detect by the radar. Surveillance equipment: it is equipped with the day-night surveillance camera and a warhead capable of defeating soft skin targets. Endurance and range: the fixed wing electric UAV can operate for 60 minutes with a man in loop control range of 15 kilometers and automated mode range from 30 kilometers. Recovery mechanism: the Nagastra 1 has an abort, recover and reuse feature. If the target is not detected or the mission is aborted, it can be called back and safely landed using a parachute system, making it superior to similar system developed by advanced countries. Then Digiyatra, the facial recognition check-in service, used at the airport. DG Jatra should be implemented at the hotel and public places like historical monuments, according to the CEO of DG Jatra Foundation. DG Jatra is an innovation program for airport passengers that uses facial recognition to streamline processing from entry to boarding. It simplifies self-bag drop and check-in by the leveraging facial recognition for identification and data retrieval, enabling paperless travel and eliminating multiple identity check. Nodal Ministry of Civil Aviation, it aims to establish industry benchmark as the SOP for digital transformation in Indian aviation. Integrated digital identity like the Aadhaar, driving license and passport into a unified DG Yatra ecosystem for biometric boarding at all Indian airports. Ensure a timely rollout of the DG Yatra system by coordinating efforts across airlines, travel agents. Okay, DG Yatra Foundation, which is a joint venture supported by the shareholders, including the Airport Authority of India, Bangalore Airport, Delhi Airport, Hyderabad Airport, Mumbai Airport, and Cochin International Airport. The purpose of DG Yatra: crowded airport and delays, large crowd and paperwork bottlenecks at airport cause frustrating delays, impacting passenger satisfaction. Inefficient paper process, current paper-based documentation verification relies on physical documentation and manual check, leading to time-consuming process prone to errors. Security risk, paper-based methods pose risk of fraud and identity threat, raising concern for passenger and authority security. Need for contactless option. During the pandemic, there was a heightened need for contactless travel options to ensure safety and security for passengers. Then direct seeding of the rice. The Punjab government has been actively promoting the DRS or the water technique for rice cultivation. Despite its benefits, government incentive of 1,500 per acre this year, the DRS adoption remains low in Punjab. Direct seeding of rice, known as the water technique, is a method of rice cultivation where paddy seeds are directly sown in the field instead of the traditional method of transplanting seedling from a nursery into the main flooded field. Direct seeding of rice. No nursery preparation or transportation is required in the DRS. Paddy seeds are mainly sown directly in the field, usually 20-30 days earlier than they could have been transplanted in the traditional method. The field is irrigated and later labeled before seedling. This is carried out using a seed driller or lucky seeder machine. Seed treatment with fungicide is important before sowing. The first irrigation is done 21 days after the sowing, followed by 14-17 more rounds every 7 to 10 days. This is less frequent than the 25-27 irrigation needed in the traditional transplantation method. It can reduce water usage by 15-20% compared to the traditional pudding methods of rice cultivation. The traditional pudding method requires 3,600 to 4,120 liters of water to grow a single kilogram of rice. It requires less labor. It is eliminate the need of nursery preparation and transportation of the seedlings. It helps replenish groundwater because it prevents the formation of a hard crust beneath the flow layer, which occurs in the traditional transplantation methods and hinders water percolation. This facilitates water percolation from the paddy field. It helps control stubble burning, which causes air pollution because crops grown using this method mature earlier than transplanted crops. This early maturity allows more time for effective management of the paddy straw. So controlling weed indirect seedling ice is challenging because severe weed infestation occurs when there is no standing water layers during the plant growth. It requires large amount of seeds. It requires laser and land leveling, which can be expensive. It is susceptible to rain. Seedling must be done prior to the onset of the monsoon, and sudden rain immediately after seedling can have adverse effect. It will just wash away the seeds. The method relies on extensive use of herbicides for weed management, which is resulted in herbicide resistance developing in certain weed species. Why has the adoption been low in Punjab? Lack of awareness and understanding of holding back DSR adoption. Negative outcomes resulting from unsuitable soil conditions cause concern and prompt farmers to return to traditional method. This discourages other farmers adopting new practices. E-flow ecological monitoring system. The Union Jal Shakti Ministry launched an e-flow ecological monitoring system for real-time tracking of river quality, adding projects, planning and monitoring. Developed by the National Mission for Clean Ganga, or Namami Gange, under the Ministry of Jal Shakti, it monitors the water quality of the Ganga, Jamuna and tributaries along with Namami Gange program activities. This system utilizes data from Central Water Commission report to track key parameters like inflow, outflow and mandated e-flow across 11 projects along the Ganga mainstream. This is what is the strategy. So more about the e-flow. E-flow stands for environmental flow, which refers to the amount of water necessary to sustain the ecological health and function of the rivers, streams and other water bodies. They ensure that enough water is available to support aquatic ecosystem, maintain water quality and sustain biodiversity. In 2018, the Indian government mandated minimum e-flow requirement for different parts of the Ganga river to be maintained throughout the year in response to National Mission for Clean Ganga. Specified flow parameters necessary to preserve the river's ecological balance, protect aquatic life and ecological aquatic life and ensure sustainability and amid various water usage demands. Okay, why is India taking keen interest in resource in Arctic region? In 2021, the question answer. India released its Arctic policy, emphasizing the need for sustainable engagement with the Arctic region. This policy underscores India's increasing interest in the Arctic abundance, resource, and strategic significance. The Arctic's melting ice has opened new opportunity for resource exploration and maritime navigation, directly influencing Indian economic and geopolitical strategy. A factor necessitating India's rising interest in Arctic resource exploration, hydrocarbons and minerals. The Arctic is estimated to contain 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and 30% of its undiscovered natural gas. For example, India's collaboration with Russia oil company Rosneft for Arctic oil projects highlights its aim to secure energy resources. Renewable energy potential. The region offers vast potential for renewable energy projects including wind, solar and bioenergy, crucial for India's transition to sustainable energy resource. For instance, India plans to explore opportunity for renewable energy investment in the Arctic, leveraging its expertise in clean energy technology. Strategic and geopolitical interests. Shipping routes. The North Sea route reduces shipping distance between Europe and Asia by 40%, lowering transportation cost and enhancing trade efficiency. For example, India's engagement with the NSR aims to boost its maritime trade capability and reduce dependency on traditional shipping routes like the Suez Canal. Geopolitical balancing. With China's increasing Arctic presence, India seeks to assert influence and ensure a balanced power dynamics in the region. For example, India's permanent observer status in the Arctic Council enables it to participate in the Arctic governance and safeguard its strategic interest. Environmental and climate impact. Climate change research. Change in the Arctic significantly affect global weather pattern, including the Indian monsoon. For example, research at the India's Himadri station in the Arctic enhances understanding of climate change impact on India's weather system. Disaster management. Rising sea level due to Arctic ice melt pose a threat to coastal region, necessitating proactive disaster management strategy. For instance, India's Arctic policy includes studying the implication of Arctic ice melt on Indian coastal area and implementing mitigation measures. Scientific collaboration and innovation. Research and development. Collaboration with Arctic nation is significant research, enhancing technological innovation and knowledge sharing. For example, the acquisition of a polar research vessel by India aims to strengthen its research capability in the Arctic. Cultural and educational exchange. Promoting exchange between Okay. For example, India's initiative for educational and cultural exchange helped build strong relations with the Arctic communities. So, conclusion: India's engagement with the Arctic region is driven by a strategic blend of resource security, geopolitical interest, and environmental concern, and scientific collaboration. India can further secure long-term benefit while contributing to global sustainability efforts and ensuring a balanced geopolitical landscape by adopting sustainable practices, enhancing international cooperation, and strengthening its research infrastructure. Nagastra 1 recently delivered to Indian Army is a type of weapon. It is um, uh, littering munition. Okay, answer would be D, which can be fired from the UAV, unmanned aerial vehicles or drones. Answer is D. Consider the following statement regarding the elephant. The heart size of Asian elephant is larger than the heart size of the African elephant. That's incorrect. Asian elephants are protected under the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1971. 2 is correct. So consider the following statement about the Chief of Defence Staff. CDS is the principal military advisor to the Defence Ministry. On all tri-service matters. Right, the post of CDS was created in 2019 on the recommendation of the Director General DBS Committee. Right, CDS will not exercise any military command, including over the 3 service chiefs. So all the 3 are correct. So, with reference to initiative on critical and emerging technology, consider the following statement. One of its aim is to reduce India's reliance on European technological partnership. Development of the 5G and 6G telecommunication technology is one of the key focus area of the ICT. Under the ICT, India and the USA have decided to install 30 kilowatt of solar energy. Here only one is correct, rest are incorrect, only one. Which one of the following technologies is utilized by the DigiYatra? This is the facial recognition. C. As the following statement, there has been an increase in the tourist visiting Antarctica in recent years. Okay, right. Currently, there is no international body that exclusively regulates the tourism in Antarctica. The Antarctica Treaty Consultative Meeting is the only platform for international cooperation on Antarctica issue. Your 2 are correct, 1 and 3. 2 is incorrect. So, consider the following statement. Mercenary is a member of armed forces of a party to the conflict. No, it's not like under the international humanitarian law, being a mercenary itself does not constitute specific crime. So, 2 is correct. So, with reference to the India Deep Sea Ocean Mission, consider the following statement. Master 6000 is the name of the manned submersible vehicle being developed under the Deep Sea Ocean Mission, right? Means environment versus climate change is no, it's not. The mission also aims to develop indigenous technology for deep sea exploration and resource utilization. 1 and 3 are correct, 2 is incorrect. Which of the following statement about the cess is correct? Cess is collected, is it tax levied on the meat price? No, cess is collected as a separate tax in addition to existing tax and must be used for specific purpose, like the security cess, education cess, Swachh Bharat cess examples. So B is correct. As the following statement about the National Mission for Clean Ganga, it is implementing the wing of the National Ganga River Basin Authority. The primary objective is to ensure effective abatement of the pollution and rejuvenation of the river Ganga. Operates from the Ministry of Forest and Jal Shakti. So 1 and 2 are correct, 3 is incorrect. So 2 options are correct. Then on the Ministry of Jal Shakti. So 2 are correct. So answer will be B. Thank you for watching. Keep watching regular to update yourself. Thank you.